Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am Tamara Wright with Billionaire Thoughts. Today, we are doing a series talking to business owners about how they're getting through COVID-19 and a lot more tips for entrepreneurs and just really staying connected during times like this. Right now, I have Steve. And Steve, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and your company?
Sure. So I'm Steve Turner, principal with Solomon Turner Public Relations here in St. Louis. We do PR marketing for companies of all sizes, mostly in the metro area. We have some clients out of town that we work with, and that gets interesting. But mostly we do a lot of local public relations for firms here in the St. Louis area, trying to help them build their brand, get their name out there, get more exposure for them, whether it be newspaper, radio, television, sometimes video. It just depends on what their goals and objectives are and who their target audience is.
Right.
So we've been doing that for 30 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, 30 years for Solomon Turner PR, and we go strong. And we were actually in business before there was this thing called the internet. Can you imagine?
I have no idea what that was like. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so everything was physical. You made your physical phone call. There was no texting or all these things,
Right.
and you had to work the old-fashioned way and fax things and do things differently. But it was a different world. But now we're moving on, and now we're in a different world, as it turns out, with the virus. So we'll see how that goes.
Exactly, adapting to that. Okay, my first question is who do you serve and who is your best customer?
Yeah, so we work with companies basically in St. Louis. We work with some people that make industrial eyewear, safety eyewear, which is kind of interesting. We work with a optometrist in Illinois that specializes in working with children. She's a developmental optometrist. Probably one of our largest clients is an architectural woodworking firm in St. James, Missouri, Cone. Architectural woodworking, they won a ton of awards. Their CEO, Phil Cone, was a small business person of the year for the state of Missouri a few years ago, and they have a great history and a terrific company. And it's kind of a mixed bag. We work with authors and speakers and different kinds of folks from different backgrounds, but they're all trying to get their brand built, get their name out there to the community, and try to get more people to their website and create more sales.
Definitely. And with me just being a new business owner now, I know how important that is to work with somebody and not have to do it all by yourself, but actually allow someone who's been doing it for 30 years or however long to do that for you.
Yeah, it's good to cut through a lot of red tape, and people would never think of trying to defend themselves in court by themselves. I mean, they
Exactly.
would hire a lawyer, or they hire an accountant for their taxes and to keep their books and things like that. So it's good to have a professional, a marketing person that's kind of been through the wars to help you grow your business, and so that's kind of where we fit in. We kind of come up with ideas and creative strategies for them, and kind of work with them on the execution and make it all come together, and hopefully they get really good results.
Right. Well, thank you. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate you. Okay, my next question is what has been most significant impact that COVID has had on your business?
The main result of all this has been some projects getting delayed that we're going to start. We had, I think, three new clients that were basically ready to come on board, and that kind of got put on hold
Mm,
because of the virus. So that's a shame with everything else. That's been the biggest thing. I think some people have cut, wouldn't say necessarily cut back, but they're either doing a little hiatus or just put a few other projects on hold.
mhm.
Overall, we've maintained the same clientele, so that's good. And we've kind of juggled different balls to keep things basically on par and on track with normal routine. So that's been really good.
That's
I
good.
think, yeah, I think most people in the business world look at this as, yes, it's been horrible, it's been deadly, it's a disaster. But for the people that we serve, and most of those are in the business to business arena,
Hmm.
it's more of kind of a setback for now, but realizing that it'll whip back in the next month or two.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people are still pretty positive and optimistic for at least a halfway decent year from a great year at the beginning of the year. Now it's probably going to be more of an average type year at the end, but I think it's going to start whipping back toward the end of the year, and orders are going to start piling up, and people are going to be hired again, and we're going to see a rocking economy here pretty soon.
And I think right now it's giving us the time to be prepared for that, because you can't really, the demand for a lot of businesses, you want to be able to execute whenever you have a lot of business. So I think that's what that time is kind of giving us right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people are spending this time sharpening their saw, so to speak, improving their business efficiencies and getting their staff ready and redoing things maybe internally. You know, if you had a chance to say, well, I really didn't like the design of our offices, or we wanted to tweak this or tweak that, fixing those things during this downtime, as well as trying to figure out, okay, so we've got this virtual deal going now.
Definitely.
How's this going to work going forward? And do we really need to have as many people in the office at one time as we did in the past? Maybe we could execute some of these things virtually and save a lot of time in the process. You think of all the time, not necessarily wasted, but just transportation. It takes a half hour to drive to a meeting, and you sit there for 10 minutes, and then everybody finally gets together. You do your business in a half hour, an hour, and then you leave, and it takes another half hour to get back. And it's just kind of an ongoing thing. So that's kind of a 2-hour deal there, as opposed to maybe doing it in a half hour, 45 minutes virtually, and saving all that time and aggravation of getting there, getting a parking space and all that stuff.
Exactly. Where we're going to meet, your office, my office. Do you want to do somewhere in the middle? Should I come to you? Definitely. It has been said, smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. What mistakes did you make along the way, and how can other entrepreneurs learn from your experience?
Good question. There's probably not enough time to answer that one. No, having been in business this many years, you do make mistakes along the way. One of the key things I think is to keep learning, keep educating yourself. A lot of people, and I know we were guilty of that, you kind of get into that routine, you get super busy, and it's kind of like you're not really learning anything new. You don't invest in seminars, you don't invest in books and learning materials, and you kind of start stagnating after a while. It starts to catch up to you, and you may fall behind on some learning materials and things that other people are doing, and they're kind of getting out in front of the curve, and you're not. So I think it's very important to keep learning and investing your time and education. That would be my primary recommendation, is to keep learning. Keep investing in newspapers, magazines, seminars, whatever you can do. Obviously, you don't want to waste time on things that are just too obvious. You've been through it 10 times and you already know.
Right.
But things that are going to give you some really good guidance for your industry, whether you're a CEO or a salesperson, there's all kinds of things out there that are great educational tools right now that you can be taking advantage of. I would highly recommend keeping the educational thing rolling in your business.
Okay, thank you. That is some great advice. I even took that in myself. Okay, we're getting towards the end of the last questions. With everything, tell me what is most inspiring to you. How do you stay motivated and just looking forward during times like this?
Well, for this time, I'm real motivated by the people that put their lives on the line. The first responders in the hospitals, and my hat's really off to those folks for doing what they do every day. And it's just amazing that they do it. They know they're at a very high risk position when they go into any emergency room or work with people with the virus. And to come out of there is really amazing. And they don't even get to live at home. They are isolated, a lot of these folks, in vans and different things like that, because they don't want to take the risk of infecting their family. So to me, to go to all that trouble and have that responsibility and be willing to do it all is really a tip of the hat. So that's really motivating. Also, I just think you have to have a curiosity to keep learning, that you don't know it all, and that there's so many things out there that are really interesting that you want to do and see. And I think if you can maintain that, you'll be motivated. You'll be self-motivated.
Yeah.
Like, like we want to go to Europe, or we want to see how other people do these things, or we want to work with the less fortunate and see how we can be of service to them. Or how, when you get to a certain point in life, it's like, well, how can we help others learn what we know? How can we teach them or help educate them or be on a webinar or something to
Yeah.
share some advice with younger folks and help them guide themselves up the ladder? So all those things tend to be real motivational for us.
That is good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to let people know, entrepreneurs, people that are in the same business as you, just viewers that may have stumbled across this video? Anything you want to let them know before we end?
Well, I think never give up. Everybody says that, but it's really true as an entrepreneur. You're going to have some great days, no doubt about it. You're going to make some huge sales. You're going to think you're on top of the world, but
Yeah.
then things are going to sink.
Right.
Like this time period we're in now, and it's like, well, what do I do now? And I understand there's some real challenges for people that were barely getting by, making a go at this point in their life. But kind of stick with it. Don't be afraid to pivot. If door A is locked, try door B and see where that takes you. So my advice would be to try that. Maintain a positive attitude. Don't be so fixed in one place that you can't see the forest of the trees, that you can see the whole picture of where you want to go. And you can pivot and do very well in life and in business. You just have to be flexible and have the belief that you can succeed if you make that change.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's so great. I appreciate that. That was really good. Thank you so much for joining us. We are hoping that your business is staying strong and staying a positive mindset. Thank you so much, Steve, for talking with us and sharing such valuable information and just inspiring us with your conversation. So until next time, make sure you guys subscribe and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.